In this video, we will learn about the West Mountain Radio RIGrunners, which are some of the most popular 12-volt DC power distribution panels out there. West Mountain Radio has a variety of RIGrunner models, but all of them share some key characteristics. The RIGrunners come with various size fuses pre-installed. The fuses are standard ATC or ATO automotive blade fuses. We sell an assortment of high-value fuses and an assortment of low-value fuses. A fuse can quickly be pulled off of a unit and replaced with another fuse. If a fuse is difficult to remove, try using pliers to pull up on the fuse, alternating between tugging on the top and bottom part. Every fuse socket has a red light that will glow if the fuse is blown. The fuse sockets can also be used with circuit breakers. Available for purchase are 30, 25, 20, 15, and 10 amp circuit breakers. Due to the thicker blade width, inserting a circuit breaker into a fuse socket causes the fuse socket to loosen. If you need to go back to a regular fuse, you may want to retighten the fuse socket. To do this, remove all of the fuses, unscrew the top and bottom screws, remove the case, and squeeze together both fuse clips with pliers. Choosing the right fuse for each socket is crucial for protecting your equipment from overcurrent situations. Following your equipment specifications helps ensure that the fuse will blow before any damage occurs to your valuable equipment. For example, a 23 amp transceiver would use a 25 amp fuse to handle the current draw safely. For lower power devices that operate under 1 amp, like the Power Bright LED light strip, a 1 amp fuse would be sufficient. The farthest left port on the RIGrunner is labeled DC in. This is where you would connect a DC power supply or battery for powering the RIGrunner and the devices connected to the RIGrunner's outlets. In this example, the 30 amp DC power supply is powering the RIGrunner, transceiver, and Power Bright. The DC in port should use a 40 amp fuse, because this is the most that the port can handle. All of the models can handle up to 40 amps of continuous current. There is one model called the RIGrunner 8012 that can handle up to 80 amps of continuous current and has ring terminals for the DC power in. All of the models have 45 amp Anderson power pole connectors. Each outlet can handle up to 40 amps, but most of the models can only handle 40 amps total when adding up the amps from all of the outlets. Let's go over an example. The PowerWorks power supply is designed to supply 25 amps continuously or 30 amps in surges for up to 5 minutes. The sum of the current being drawn continuously from the equipment attached to the RIGrunner must be less than or equal to 25 amps. If you have two 23 amp transceivers that are only receiving, then those might draw 2 amps each. Target Tuner is a mobile antenna system that draws around 2 amps. The Power Bright LED light strip draws less than 1 amp. Adding these up gives us 6.1 amps of continuous current being drawn, which is within the limit of the 25 amps being supplied. When transmitting on one of the radios, it may draw up to 23 amps. Adding up the values then give us 27.1 amps, which is within the limit of 30 amps for a surge. RIGrunners have a sturdy aluminum enclosure and a durable powder coat finish. The mounting brackets make it easy to secure a RIGrunner to a surface. Most RIGrunners have vertical power poles, but a couple have horizontal power poles. Retention clips prevent power pole blocks from unintended disconnects. These are meant to be used with the horizontal power pole connectors and are also popular for securing power pole cables together. Each port has an RFI protection capacitor, making these units great for amateur radio use. Another reason that RIGrunners are great for amateur radio use is that they protect expensive equipment, like radios, from voltage fluctuations, especially during events like lightning strikes. While most of the RIGrunners are for 12-volt power sources, there are a few models that work with other supply voltages. These are called the RIGrunner 4008 48-volt negative, 48-volt positive, and 24-volt positive. This chart highlights some of the key differences between the different models. The smallest RIGrunner has 4 power pole outlets and 2 USB Type-A charging ports. The largest number of power pole outlets on a RIGrunner is 12. Some of the bigger RIGrunners have 3 LEDs to indicate if the supply voltage is over, normal, or under voltage. They also have an audible alarm for over and under voltage. There is an advanced RIGrunner model called the RIGrunner 4007U. This model displays the supply voltage and load current measurement on a 3x7 segment display with adjustable brightness. It has a push button for solid-state on-off control. The USB Type-A port is for charging iPhone, Android, and other USB devices. It will auto-select which current to use when charging Android versus iPhone. There is a built-in power guard that automatically shuts off power to the outputs when a high or low input voltage condition is met. There is an internal micro USB programming port that can be used to connect the unit to a PC. This allows for the unit to be remotely turned on or off and for some of the settings to be changed, like the high and low trip points. The included red lockout jumper may be installed to prevent the unit from being turned on. The unit has an external sense terminal that is suitable for a variety of electrical and mechanical interlock circuits. There are internal RF bypass capacitors on all of the inputs and outputs. The RIGrunner 4010S Plus is designed to work in one of 2 auto modes, master outlet mode or vehicle detect mode. It has one master outlet that is always on, even if the control switch is set to off. The control switch has 3 positions. On turns the switched outlets on, and off turns the switched outlets off. The auto position automatically turns on the switched outlets when a condition is met. This condition depends on which auto mode the unit is in. In master outlet mode, the other outlets will be on whenever adequate current is drawn from the master outlet. In vehicle detect mode, the switched outlets are on whenever the vehicle alternator is running. The switched outlets are controlled by a solid-state relay with temperature and overcurrent protection. Like the RIGrunner 4007U, this RIGrunner has a built-in power guard. The power guard protects the switched outlets but not the master outlet. This RIGrunner also has an internal micro USB programming port, which is where the auto mode can be selected and the trip points can be changed. Another USB settable parameter is the master port sensitivity level for detecting the current. The unit can be set to automatically shut off when the engine is off. A delay value can be set so that the unit will not shut off right away. The unit can also be set to automatically turn on when the vehicle engine starts. A RIGrunner is the most convenient and safest way to connect all of your 12-volt DC equipment to a power source. To see all of the RIGrunner models that we offer, visit westmountainradio.com and click on the RIGrunners button.